What's going on, guys? Bonafide Hustler here. Welcome to another show. A little bit different of a show today. Yesterday we had a lifestyle, how to craft a really good lifestyle show, and I thought, pretty much everyone liked it. So I decided to come back because I didn't get enough time for like Q&A really at the end of the show. I did go over an hour, just because it was a lot of fun. But anyway, that's what this show is about right here: lifestyle and motivation. Basically, an open Q&A. And I would definitely want to see if there's anybody out there that had questions from, let's say, yesterday's show, or even the show that I did 2 weeks ago. I did two of them, which was like entrepreneur tactics, business, and tips, all that kind of stuff. I can answer those as well. Got one viewer in the house. Let's see what is going on. We got two now. I just decided to do the show on a whim. I got to tell you real quick. In Austin, Texas right now, it is a beautiful day. It was supposed to rain today, and they couldn't have been more wrong because it hasn't rained, and it is like amazing. Like the weather has come down like 10 degrees. It's crazy. I thought about doing this show on Periscope, right? But then it doesn't have that effect for later on, people that want to see it in the evening time, or they want to watch it, maybe this weekend, but you can't kind of do that on Periscope, and you don't get that kind of connection with the comments afterwards kind of feeling. So I decided to do the show now. Yesterday was a very interesting program, right? It just kind of came as a whim. I drafted this outline, which was, you got to check it out, by the way. I'll try to put a link up here once it's a non-live show. I'll put the link right here to yesterday's show, and you definitely have to watch it, trust me. But I crafted this outline in like no time, and I talked about a lot of really amazing things that I think can help you out. In fact, if you look at the comment feed, I mean, it's basically all, people talking about, doing better. And that's what it's all about. I think most people in the YouTube space know me for reselling, right? The Bonafide Hustler. He's the guy that's like cheddar weather, and he's always doing dopios, and he loves blue sunglasses and all that kind of stuff. And he did crazy hauls, and he's, co-founder of the Green Room. And that's what a lot of people know me for. But what a lot of people might not know me for is some of this other positive aspect stuff that I've been dealing with my entire life. I mean, I've had bad pieces of life happen to me, but I've always viewed life in a very interesting way, and I think in a little different way than most people. And so it does transpose sometimes on the camera through ride-alongs and through all this kind of stuff. I'm always trying new things. And I really do think that when it comes down to crafting an amazing lifestyle, I mean, you have to look at it in a sense that, it's about experiences. And a lot of people are like, well, yeah, experiences are expensive and they cost a whole lot of money. And that's not true. If you go take a look at yesterday's show, there's definitely a lot of stuff that I talked about you can do for free. But anyway, this show is basically about well-being, motivation, lifestyle, and open Q&A would be, I thought, a really good idea. So we have 15 people watching right now. We have 2 upvotes. Get a comment in there. Let's get a comment and a question started, and then we can get the show rolling. I got to say, out of the 8 things that I discussed yesterday, so I'm going to go over the 8 things, but I'm not going to actually go over them. One was to find a mentor or icon. That was the very first thing that I talked about yesterday. So you definitely have to see the spiel on that one. But that basically comes down to, find someone to look up to, and then kind of emulate, and then, use some of their amazing tactics to bring it to your own life. Second one was pursue your happiness first, never someone else's, right? Pursue your happiness first, and then, take from other people certain things that have done well. Actively understand, that's number 3, actively understand where your money is going. I think it's really important to always know where your money is going. Okay, take a look at your checking account, whatever, online, and always figure out where that money is going, because you never know if, it's not that you never know, but there are many times where maybe you engaged in a subscription for something, or you're getting auto billed by something else, and it's just like you never use the item. Does that make sense? So always actively understand where your money is going. Number 4 is plan trips. I think it's really important. You always got to plan trips. I love to, I said it yesterday, but I would love to take credit for this one, but I can't. It was a doctor that talked to my wife in the hospital. He was like, one thing I do when I come back from trips is I literally start planning the next one. That way it's another goal for me to achieve. I was like, it's pretty good. I was like, I like that one. So definitely plan your trips, plan as often as you can. And trips don't have to be super long. They can be even short day or weekend trips. They don't have to be these 10-day, 7-day kind of things. Number 5 was immerse yourself in a life that you want. constantly be researching and looking at images and reading, forums and reading all this kind of stuff on the life that you want. Okay, so if you want to become more successful in this or that, you got to immerse yourself in those kind of things. And that way, it's almost like putting yourself out there in the universe, like they say, except you're actively really trying to get there. Number 6 was do amazing free stuff. And this is, I talked about this earlier, but experiences aren't always super expensive, right? Sometimes you have to spend money to get great experiences. Like if you want to go to a rainforest, probably, have to fly out of the country. If you want to experience certain things with sporting things like biking, surfing, snowboarding, likely you have to either rent or purchase, the item so that way you can experience it. But there's a lot of free stuff out there that's really interesting as well. Most people's hometown, there are free festivals, carnivals, free festivals. There are workshops. There's all kinds of stuff that are free that will really open up your eyes to a lot of different things. Number 7 was join free groups. And I mentioned meetup.com. That's a really important one that I think most towns will have a pretty decent amount of activity on meetup.com. Lots of free groups over there that you can hang out with, from women that drink wine only to, guys that love chugging beer, down to people that love walking in the forest, other people that like to go on mushroom hunts. So anyway, what I'm saying, like, just take a look at the free groups that are out there. They're free. Join up with other people that are like-minded. Very important. And then the last thing is consider getting active. As much as you hear us talk about fitness and being active, I mean, we're not just like doing that because it sounds cool, right? I've been physically active my entire life, and I can honestly tell you that in small pieces of my life where I've just, maybe went a week without working out, or extended period of time because I was traveling abroad, for example, I mean, I just start deteriorating. My thoughts deteriorate. Things just start going haywire. And so staying active is definitely one of those things that I can promise you will not be a bad decision to adopt. So that was the 8th one from yesterday. Like I said, I will put that link up there. It'll be here in this corner right here. But I'm going to go into the actual feed right here. We got 50 viewers, man. That went up fast. Wow. And open Q&A, guys. Let's talk about it real quick. What do you guys want to talk about? I probably have about 30 minutes to an hour because I definitely want to capitalize on this amazing day that's outside. It's so pretty. Okay, so who watched that video yesterday? That's going to be my first question out to the feed because I know some people did. Second of all, who do we have from the green room in here? Hey, what's up, Mr. Shoe Guy? He wanted to check in and say, good video, cool. You're the real deal in balancing the lifestyle, man. Everyone's not good at that. Yeah. I think one of the the testament to that statement is the fact that I don't always chase money, right? There was a time in my life where I did. And I was happy, don't get me wrong, but I wasn't enriched, I guess I could say. But I was happy, right? But I didn't feel enriched or any of that kind of stuff. So this whole notion of give all the time, and positive things will happen in return. I think that's really important. I'll give you a classic example. I built a YouTube channel 4 years ago, 3.5, 4 years ago, right? I mean, just built it from a tiny little camcorder that my girlfriend at the time was like holding, and my next door neighbor would hold it too, and sometimes E-Money would hold it, and I was like, hey, I'm like a bona fide hustler and stuff, and like I resell, and you can make money too, and it's a great loophole. And that's basically like how uncomfortable the first series of videos were on my channel. And then I just kept going. Like I kept going because I had true passion in it, and I was like actually hustling all the time, way more than I do now. But like I was hustling a lot, and even with other jobs in the background, I was just hustling, and it was a lot of fun. It was tons of fun, but I found myself wanting to give all the time. So I gave in the, even down to like on an AdSense level, like I wasn't making crap with my channel until pretty much recently, actually. Like that's where like money starts coming in with the channel, but like I really didn't know anything about it back in the day. I wasn't doing it for the money. I was doing it more for a bit of recognition and to be an authority one day, to be able to, I don't know, there's my wildest dreams. Like I would never thought I was going to be part of a green room university, but I mean, clearly if you think positive and you get around a lot of other positive people that link up together, it's just what happens, right? So anyway, outside of all that, 4 years of hard work, and not to mention the 12 years of actual hustling that I have done, 4 years of it was actually documented on YouTube. I think that all came down to a proficiency, right? An appearance of proficiency, to where just last week, or was it this week? Could have been this week. Anyway, I met up with a green room member, right? Some guy, I wouldn't say some guy, but anyway, it's a friend. And we went and got dopios. And then we went and got tacos. And I was like, sweet. He paid for my doppio, paid for my taco. And he was just like, your time is invaluable. I was like, but I keep giving. Like, that's all I do. It's like, all I know is to give, just give, right? And so, and he's part of the green room. So I figured, like, man, this guy, for 2.5 years, by the way. So the guy has given me back in return, a year and a half of, 2.5 years of membership, contribution in the room, talking and all that kind of stuff. He even got a friend to sign up, which I have met that guy at a green room meetup. I actually came to the Salt Lake barbecue one, year 2. And when we were done with the tacos, or right before we were about to get tacos, he like had money in his hand. And I think it was about like $200. He's like, here's it for your time. And I was like, no, I don't want to take it. And he's like, no, but you don't understand, like, your type of expertise and the fact that you're taking time out of your day to meet with me. He's like, this cost you a lot of money. I was like, I know, but like, I don't look at it that way. I was like, I'm really thankful that you've actually joined my room for 2.5 years, honestly. And this was even before he told me that he had got another person to sign up. So I was very grateful at that point. And maybe there will be one of those days where I take the money, but for right now, I still feel okay. Like, I'm feeling good. I don't need the money, right? And I feel good enough to at least take a couple hours out of my day and spend time with him, right? I took 3.5 hours out of my day a week ago to meet with a green room member that was passing through town again. It's actually one of our like best members, but I was only supposed to be there for an hour, and literally, like, our talk was going so well and everything was jiving and all this kind of stuff. And before I knew it, 3.5 hours had passed by. So, money's not everything, right? You got to give a lot. You got to give a lot out there, guys. You have to, especially if you're passionate about it. Okay, so Comfort Zone Studio is in the house. Bonafide wisdom from a bona fide friend. What's up, guys? What's up, Picking for Profit? Good to see you. What's up, Jennifer Leland? Also a monster green room member right there. Everyone knows Jennifer Leland if you're in the room. So let's talk. Let's get a. All right, so here's one from Terrific Stereo. I want to see if I can answer this. Not really lifestyle motivation oriented, but I'll still answer it. Buyers express interest on Craigslist, then they do not follow up after one reply. How do I improve my closing rate? You have to disclose your demand. Like, so if you have other people that are interested, put that in there. Like, yeah, I mean, usually when I get Craigslist stuff, I'm just like replying back very quickly, one sentence. I still have the item. If you're interested, let me know. It's first come, first serve. I'm just now getting back to emails, right? Or, man, if I was getting back to emails earlier in the day or the day before, it doesn't matter. I'll just say I'm just getting back to emails for the item. That shows demand, right? That shows that, okay, I'm not the only person interested here. I didn't get my butt in gear if I want to buy this thing. So that's one way you can definitely improve your closing rate. Another way you can improve your closing rate on Craigslist is definitely just put that first come, first serve. That's it. I've put that statement literally thousands of times in emails, and only once has someone say, first come, first serve, but I want to see it today. Does that mean I have to hurry up over there and I might not get it? Like, only one person was idiotic enough to, like, think that I'm trying to get 50 people to come at once to like battle this thing out. Like, it's so funny. But anyway, so if you put first come, first serve, that's also another way you can improve your closing rate on Craigslist. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And also, I like to disclose demand even when they show up. I'm like, oh yeah, did you call me earlier today? And they're like, no, I didn't. Oh, okay, there was some other guy. Anyway, so yeah, this thing's like first come, first served, So disclosing demand is very important. When you make the person realize that that's not the only person in the line to get your item, usually it reduces the rate of getting talked down on the item, which is good. And it also speeds up the whole, like, oh, here's your cash, see you later, bye. Anyway, okay. What else do we got here? I'm looking at the comment feed. By the way, if you're watching this, there's a comment feed on the right. Zahir Malik. What's up, Zahir? I want you on the Green Room Show, by the way. I need to become physically active. By the way, Zahir Malik is from the UK. So UK in the house right now. Zahir, what time is it over there in the UK? Let me know. It's 4:47 p.m. here Central in Austin. Well, it must be morning for you guys. But anyway, Zahir Malik says, I need to become physically active. I hate my body weight as of yet, not taking the right steps to fix it. We have someone in the green room that's making baby steps. I talked to him behind the scenes real quick. gave him some advice. I think it was coming in at like 300 pounds. And I was like, dude, I was like, figure out something that you really love and then just start and build a baseline, right? And I think we got an update from him today in the Green Room Life section. And he's like, oh, I'm up to what was it, 2.5 hours of walking or something like that. But anyway, walking every day, and then after a while, you're building your base up, and then he's got a little pedometer. I don't know how he calculates. I don't know if it's a phone or whatever, but these days you can go into any store and get a pedometer, or you can get a watch like this, a Basis Peak or a Fitbit. It's in your phone too. Like if you don't want to spend any money, there's an app for it already. I know on the iPhone, there's like an iPhone Health or something. My cat. Anyway. So yeah, just start off with baby things, man. You don't have to go crazy into like a trail run, mountain biking, or any of this kind of crap. Like that's like intermediate type stuff typically. You just want to get active easily. It's as easy as walking down the street and swinging your arms, right? And then when you get a good base going, where you can do 5 blocks or 3 miles or 5 miles, then you got to put something in your hands, okay? A little bit of weight, like 3 pounds or whatever, and do the same thing. Now you're really burning some calories, right? And then after that, you want to start bringing it up to like maybe 5 miles, 7 miles. You want to start going up there. And then maybe, right, every, let's say, 2 minutes, you go into a brisk little jog for like 30 seconds, right? Every 2 minutes, and you do that for a while. And you'll be so surprised how easy running starts becoming for you and all that kind of stuff. So you're going to have to do definitely some work. If you need some tips behind the scenes, I will help you out, Zahir. Just let me know. Yeah, and physically active also could just be a gym too. Like you could just want to be in the gym. That's great. I understand that the weather isn't as like amazing in other parts of the country, like Austin, all the time. So if weather is definitely one of your concerns, there are ways to get fit and not be in rain or freezing your ass off. 10:48 p.m. in the UK. Oh, I was so off. Anyway. Okay, so here's another question from Zahir. I need to work on it mentally it makes me feel that if you can't look after yourself, then how can you look after other things in life? You're right. It all comes down to you. It's one of those things that once you start performing optimally, then everything changes. I thought about an analogy today, and I'm like hoping this is original thought, but once you change inside, the only way you can change outside and how things come to you is only by changing the inside. I think that's me. I think now I coined that. That's me now. That's all me, man. None of these Gary Vaynerchuks or like any of these people, Tony Robbins, they better not take that. Anyway, so yeah, it has to start here, and it has to start in your heart. Like you have to love it, and you have to have thought about it, right? And you have to act on it. Because if you don't love it and you're not all about it, then how is the external physique of your body supposed to change? How are other people supposed to be attracted to your, business mantra, for example, right? Anytime you start getting in check up here and here, then physically you can make things happen any way you want. You can get big, small, rotund, super thin, like whatever you want to do. You can control these things actively. And then if you definitely love what you're thinking about up here, you can achieve things through business too, anything you want. And that becomes more attractive to people that are like serious about their business too. They're like, oh man, this guy changed his whole entire life over and his business is going well. I need to hook up with that guy, right? Just like when we were starting the Green Room, we were looking for other talent, and we basically recruited Raykin, right? Because we were like, this dude's on our level. He's thinking the same way, making YouTube videos all the time. I was like, we got to have this guy on. So we did that. So that's kind of what happens. Like you start breeding good thoughts and controlling your life, and you start making it go in a certain direction, then other people that have done that start to find out about you and start to figure things out and be like, hey, let's hang out together. Let's start something, right? Yeah, and Truth Seeker is saying that's very brave of you to put yourself out there, Zahir. That actually is really brave. Matt Merrick. This is a tough one. Any advice for a guy struggling with ADHD? Yeah, I would say keep it down to like 2 things only that you must get accomplished during the day. I think everyone at some point suffers from something like this, and it's only because the world that we live in is so, there's like 5 billion things at any given moment that are willing to just take your attention. And usually these 5 billion things are just garbage, right? A lot of it is garbage. Some of it is really good stuff, but a lot of it's just garbage. And what I mean by that is binge watching random stuff and like, on your phone 24/7. If you're not a content creator, or let's say even a resale, I mean, spending time on your phone, that literally, like today I got on my YouTube account and I just started like looking at all these like videos I haven't watched, like in my subscription feed. And it was like 10:05, and like I was like, I'm only gonna do this for like 10 minutes. And before I knew it, it was 10:45. Like just like that. I remember thinking consciously, like, damn, dude, I gotta stop this. This is crazy. Like that is literally my life going away, like right there. Like I'm watching other people's dreams and I could be taking care of my own, right? So that's where at that point I realized, like, okay, like that's not good. Not to say that I'm not going to do that again. I'm just saying it's good to have these kind of realizations where you go, I have a problem, I have to take care of it. So with ADHD, like the main problem is attention. Like you have to get on a couple things. So try to have, what I like to say is, with people that have very short attention spans, like myself included, 2 easy to achieve goals per day, and then one a little bit tougher one, right? So I used to go on a 2-1 kind of thing, and then now I'm pretty good. But yeah, 2-1, like two relatively easy things. Could be like pick up stuff around the house is the easy thing. The second easy thing can be empty all the trash cans, like basic stuff, right? But that stuff compounds. Like over time, you have a cleaner house. You can think better, right? So you're not losing your attention. Like everywhere you go in your house, you're like, crap, it's dirty. Crap, this is not supposed to be there. Crap, this, that's poison. So you want to keep it simple. And then the last thing being something a little bit harder, right? A little bit harder to do. Like if you're a content creator, maybe make a video, right? Edit a video. And then hold yourself to these 2-3 things every single day. And before the next day starts, have your next 3 things on a board. I have a board up here. What do I have on this board? This was my 3 things just the other day. Film a YouTube walkthrough, did it. Number 2, never got to it. It's a t-shirt request to Glenn, a graphic designer. And then the third thing is drop 170 gigs into our Google hard drive for the green room. And I did that. So the t-shirt request, I need a little bit more time to think about it. That's the only reason I haven't done it. I want to do it, but it's definitely not. These 3 things are actually 3 hard things to accomplish. So I got 2 of the 3 things done in one day. The third one was just like really hard. So, but yeah, 2 easy things, 1 relatively hard thing. I think you'll be okay. Keep repeating that every single day. Mine insanity says, Lister, necessary for me to keep my life in order. Yeah, it's one of those things that is tough. Lister was definitely one of those things. I have bulletin boards like 3 different directions in this office, and the one right here has most of the stuff on it. The one over there has all kinds of reminders of all the things that I'm in charge for every month that comes through the green room. This one right here is blank because it was going to be the board that I was going to shoot videos with and like do some really cool concept kind of things for you guys. But essentially, like, there's a lot of action on this board here that nobody ever sees, and there's one over there. And I look at this one a lot. Like this one, I look at like literally every day. People like Rakin, for example, go through their goals, and I want to see, he has something else that they recite. He recites every night like his goals where he wants to be, and then every morning he recites his goals and where he wants to be. And throughout his day, everything he does, is going to line up with those goals. And if there's something that's not lining up with a goal, like he'll immediately internally feel it, my guess, and try not to do some of that stuff, which I can give you a classic example. Sometimes our conference calls behind the scenes for the green room go a little bit over the time limit, right? And there comes a point in every conference call where it's almost like things aren't getting accomplished anymore, right? Or the things that they're talking about in the conference call are very, very minuscule things, and it just doesn't matter. So he has a habit of just being like, okay, I think the conference call is pretty much done. I think we're good. I don't think we're getting anywhere past this one point. Let's just cut it off, and then I'll see you guys on Thursday. And that's basically how it goes, and I could admire that. That's good. But also means that he is definitely cognizant of his time and like his goals, because time is one of those things. Once it goes by, guys, once the time goes by, you never get to go back and get it again. So you really have to be a little bit stingy on like, okay, the first time that he did that, I was like, oh, that kind of sucks, but then after a while, you kind of realize like, you're right. This is no different than binge watching YouTube videos at the point. If nothing's getting accomplished, then why have a longer conference call, right? So anyway, buddy car chai. Do I use a dream board, goal board, index cards with a goals to review? I don't do that, but I am constantly every day thinking of my next move. And usually my thoughts now are concentrated on one thing. So, and I can't tell people what that is because I know about the whole like put yourself out there, but like this is more like it's a little different. So I definitely, I'm going to keep it a little bit more secret. I don't even think the admin staff in the green room knows what I'm thinking, but that's okay. Because it's one of those things like, I know I can get it done. It's going to take a whole lot of work, but I know I can get it done. So anyway, Buddy is saying that the most valuable commodity is your time. Yeah, absolutely. There's some people that love lists, by the way, and index cards and goal boards and all kind of stuff. I've tried it a couple times. It didn't work really well for me, and I just think that's my personality. So, but I'm constantly thinking, constantly brainstorming, and I've found that a lot of my brainstorming still circles around this like one thing. Like, it always revisits me every single day. I get reminded of it. So yesterday I was in traffic, and something reminded me of my goal again. Like, it was just something that someone was wearing, and I was like, oh, okay. So anyway, that's enough. That's enough clues for you guys right there. Yeah, it's gonna be a great. I hope it's gonna be a great plan. Well, I don't like hopes. I don't mess with hopes, but it'll be a great plan because regardless, I'm gonna do it. It's either gonna crash and burn or it's gonna do, amazingly well. So we'll see. Mike Johnson says your most valuable asset is your mind. That's absolutely true. Yeah, your mind. Don't ever, just like you control the people around you. That you have a personal space, obviously, but then you control all the people around you because they're your friends. And you ever notice how like sometimes there's some people that at one time with your friends, and then all of a sudden there's just something started happening and it's not good anymore, so you don't hang out with them as much, right? That's not, that you should be applying that amount of discipline to everyday thoughts. Okay. And what I mean by that is like every single day there are 1,000 things that are going to be trying to grab your attention. 1,000 different things. 1,000 different things that usually are not in your control whatsoever. It's just 1,000 different things. Could be a notification ring on your phone for random this, that, it could be anything, right? But 1,000 different things that are going to take you away from your dreams. And it's occurring every single day of your life. So you have to be really cognizant of the fact that if you're strong enough to ditch a friend or ditch someone that, or just not hang out with people that are haters, or, getting away from people that are really crass, right? You're going to have to do that same exact thing literally every second of the day because these things try to come at you. You ever see the movie The Matrix when all those little like squirrely robot things like try to take over the craft, and it's like before you know it, they're all over the craft, and then their little arms are inside the craft, and that's what's happening every day with your mind, right? You have this perfect mind that's just gliding through space, and all of a sudden these like things start coming at you, and they latch on, and before you know it, right, your entire mind and brain is hijacked by other people's dreams and other people's things. So you have to be really careful. And that is something that even the best of us will struggle with, honestly, because we are so almost like a Pavlov response engineered to get away from like all the things that truly make us happy, your dreams. All these things are button clicks away to like escape the pain it takes to actually start getting your dreams started. It's painful. It is. It's like, where do you start? Like, the world is so vast. How do you make your dreams come true? And then, of course, the next second passes by and you hear a ding and you're like checking your phone. Before you know it, you're going through this crazy social circle where you check Instagram, you check YouTube, you check Facebook, and then an hour is gone, 2 hours are gone. And then before you know it, you haven't worked out. And then now your life kind of like, I wish I could do better. And you keep saying wishes and hopes, and that's not good. So you have to understand that, it doesn't mean that if you are able to control this on a constant basis that you're not going to be a fun person to hang out with. That's not what it means. It doesn't mean you're going to be over analytical. It just means that you care about your dreams enough to where you want to see them come to fruition. And that's a very important thing to you. Gary Vaynerchuk said something very important one day. It was kind of on the lines of this, but he said, someone asked him like, how do I know if I'm going to be a good entrepreneur? Like someone just asked him in a keynote. And he said, if you don't know by now, you're not a good entrepreneur. You'll never become a good entrepreneur. He's like, good entrepreneurs can't stand the thought of not taking care of like what their destiny is. Like the whole notion of like working for someone else or not getting your dreams accomplished literally bothers them every single second of the day. And that's when you know you have something special. Because if inside you're constantly bothered by something, or constantly bothered by a dream or a goal, And yeah, so that I thought was like really profound insight right there, because that's totally true. Yeah, if you cruise through your whole life just always thinking that you're cut out for something better, something bigger, right? And that's truly what an entrepreneur like these days is, like these thoughts of nothing but the goal keeps going in their head. So anyway, I said I was going to answer questions, and then here I go on like 15-minute rants. Okay, let's talk about some questions here. Picking for profit, that's me right now, bona fide. Yeah, man. I mean, you got to do what drives you, man. You got to do what drives you. And quite honestly, one of the best things, I guess the best advice, because I was thinking about this before I was eating lunch today. I was like, I got to tell them out there that every second that's going by, there's something that's trying to steal your dreams, right? Every single second, something is trying to get you. So, try to be, you don't have to go 100% the other direction and go, okay, only my mind matters and only what I think matters. And that's it. It's only me, because that can get really bad. You don't want to do that. But what I'm saying is just shift. A little bit of a shift is necessary. Even if you get half of that time back, man, I'll tell you, you can do wonderful things with half of that time back. Half, okay? We're not talking about all of it, just half. I think you'll be okay. Scott Gilmore, you don't need to pour out your beer. No, beer is not bad. Beer, none of these things. People have these crazy notions like beer is bad, weed is bad, all drugs are bad. Look, if you can control all your habits and all your vices, none of that stuff is bad. This world is a crazy world that we live in, guys. And sometimes you do need a little bit of time to like slow down. I get it. Because, I mean, I have alcoholic beverages like sitting over there, and there probably is a joint or two somewhere in my house. I swear, I'm not even kidding. I don't know where it is, but I know my next door neighbor has a bunch of that stuff. And, I'm not saying I do it very, 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 very rarely, but sometimes things get very, very crazy. It's just life. That's just life. And it doesn't mean that you're a bad person because you just want to slow down for a little bit. It just means that that's just what it is. That's how you tick. That's it, man. So, I mean, don't ever let someone tell you that if this makes you tick well, and if the slowing down in the day by a beer leads you to these amazing thoughts, right? And a large portion of those amazing thoughts have to deal with your dream and your ambitions. Have a beer every day. Have 2 beers a day. Like figure out what it is, and just know that everything in control is great. If I work out too much, that's not healthy. Too much working out, that's not great. Too much beer drinking, that's not good either, right? Too much weed smoking, definitely not good. But in control, everything is just fine. So anyway, Jessica Corona says, hell yeah, spark one up. Hilarious. Comfort Zone Studio, I want to read this remark real quick. It says, the world is full of kings and queens who blind your eyes and steal your dreams. It's heaven and hell. I like that. Clearing clutter for clarity. I like this one. My boyfriend says, everything in moderation, including moderation. That's pretty funny. Musa NC says, too much mushrooms, also bad. Yeah, there are a lot of things that are bad, guys. There's a ton of things that are bad, Anyway. So positive thoughts are critical. That's right. Carry the miasma. I think we're all. I've had such a privilege just because of YouTube, right? And the privilege is 2 ways. Like 3 ways actually. The privilege is I've been able to actually find a medium where I actually have been able to tell my story, show the things that I know about when it comes to reselling, and people listen across the world, and people got back to me through Facebook and random things are like, oh man, you've made me a lot of money. Like, you've made me this, I did what you did and made me money. So that was good. Number 2, it allowed me to build a business out of it. The business at first was my first book, and it led to my second guide. And then now it's the Green Room University, right? A business. That's freaking wonderful. And the third thing, what I wanted to talk about, was the fact that it led me to meeting a lot of amazing, amazing people. Amazing people. And I thought that was very crucial for me because I know I have a pretty good setup over here in Austin. I know I live close to all these like thrift stores. I got freaking 200 to 500 garage sales every Saturday. Like, like it's not bad to live here, and got lakes and all this stuff, and it's fun and festivals and all that. But I got to meet a lot of other people that don't get to have that type of setup, right? And I thought that, and I'm so grateful to have, and I know throughout college and throughout my professional life, I've met definitely people that I guess aren't as fortunate as myself. Not saying I'm great or anything, but there's a fortunate and kind of like, I would much rather live in Bonafides town, right? Like, so however you want to say that. I was able to meet these people, right? And I realized immediately about a lot of the people I met at the Green Room meetups and everything, especially the big ones like that happened in July, is that out of the crowd, let's say we take the picker space, who knows, 50,000 deep, 100,000 deep, out of the crowd, there truly are very few that actually act on what they want in life and control their thoughts and know that reselling is just one of many things that lead to a better life. Now, I've had the intense pleasure of actually meeting these people in real life and going, holy crap, they're pressed with different circumstances, way less fortunate towns and thrift stores, whatever, and they're still making it happen, man. They're traveling halfway across the country to meet other Green Room members, have fun with us. Like, this is amazing. I couldn't believe that was one of the things that came out of my YouTube channel and forming partnerships with other critical reselling YouTubers. And it definitely opened up my eyes that I'm not the only one out there that can do this, that I can change, right? I'm always changing, by the way. But these people have changed. A lot of these people have changed, and the ones that make it to the meetup, they're just acting, they're making money, like bam, 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 bam. I can afford the trip. Straight up. That's it. We had even one guy coming from Australia. Okay. Like, think about it. Like, it's crazy. They don't have FBA. They have a little eBay thing over there, but they have pretty much nothing. They have Savers, no Goodwills. I don't think there's any garage sales. I mean, and the dude's like buying a ticket to come to USA to hang out with his homies. So, there really are no excuses. But what I've figured out through the picker space, and I think this is just general, is that there are a lot of people out there that want to do good things. Okay. And then there are a very select few that actually act on it. And a lot of them will talk. A lot of people know it's good to be healthy. A lot of people know if you list more, you make more on eBay, right? And then there's that very few that do it correctly and do it right and do it to the extent where it actually leads them to a more promising lifestyle. Even if it's a little bit, it don't matter. Like, it's the fact that their life has upgraded a little bit is all that matters. So anyway, I think it's very, very interesting. And I'm glad I got the opportunity to have at least experienced it up to this point. And I have a feeling it's just only going to get better from here on. But I did have to mention that because I've always wanted to tell people. I mean, I've said it through Green Room Hangouts, like, oh my God, the meetup is amazing. And even me cruising around the Green Room meetup at 3 hours of sleep or 4 hours of sleep at night, because we're the host of it, basically. Meeting these people, I mean, I could have the lowest energy possible waking up in the morning. And the second I get around these people, I'm just like, oh my God, I'm so thankful, giving the best time. They're so talented. Everyone's so talented. Everyone's so amazing inside. Like, everybody, every single person. So I'm thankful to have met them. I really am. And I hope it gets bigger and better in every way possible, that we can do multiple Green Room meetups a year. We're even thinking at one point to maybe do a Green Room winter trip where it would be more hiking and camping and ski activity related, something like that. So maybe not 2017, but possibly 2018, an actual like secondary kind of meetup. So it'd be kind of cool. Okay, let's see. Stro says, do I ever plan on putting my hustling on autopilot, going a less active route, private label, course, Green Room, and YouTube are a good start? Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I love the garage sales to the very end, like I just do. So I think I'm always going to be a garage sales ever until I realize that time is just not worth it to me. But as of right now, there's very few things that I would ever trade for garage sale weekends. Do I think I'm going to go down the private label? I think I am, actually, and that's part of my master plan. But I don't think it's in the way that most people think it's going to be. You'll see. Musa says I can't read that one. Sorry. Picking for Profit says, I feel the same way, Bonafide, and I only have 170 subscribers compared to your 20K. Yeah, you gotta help each other. Picking for Profit's got wonderful videos about flea markets and all that kind of stuff. He's got some snazzy circular sunglasses that are pretty cool. Definitely got some style, man. Comfort Zone Studio says if I have the winter trip, it would be from the green room to the emergency room. LOL. Yeah, at that point we're probably gonna have to get waivers signed and all that kind of stuff. But I think it'd be a lot of fun. We definitely, I definitely see a lifestyle coaching thing somewhere in my future too. I can't really picture it right now, but I have a feeling that that's somewhere in there. I can't really figure out where it's going to land, but I have a feeling it might have to deal with Green Room Life, which is our separate page of Green Room that is right next to our actual Green Room Facebook. There's another Green Room that is Green Room Life. It's for all the stuff that you can't talk about in Green Room. It's just Green Room's all about money and reselling. And then you go to Green Room Life and it's all about like healthy habits and taking care of your body and like all this amazing stuff and having fun and what everyone's eating and all. So anyway, it was definitely a good idea to start up Green Room Life. Carrie Mia's mama says, you're already helping people Bonafide. I always want to help people. You know that. Picking for Profit says, you're a good speaker, so it's in your future for sure, BH. Cool. Jimmy Ham is a great question. What about your fitness channel? Any updates? Yeah, so Green Room in the past 2 months has gotten significantly harder to manage, right? And I say it in a good way, as in like it's always good to have the problem where memberships coming in and now it's like you're finding every angle possible to manage it properly. So it's a good problem to have, right? But it also leads us to twice the amount of conference calls, twice the amount of work, all this kind of stuff. And that's definitely one of those things I'm attempting to get under cruise control to where I know at certain times, hours of the day, like that's what I'm doing. And why is my cat munching on an electrical wire? Dude, get out of there. Are you out of your mind? But yeah, I mean, Green Room, it's taken up a lot more time now. I've actually found myself hustling a little bit less, and that's just one of those things during the week, at least a little bit less. Definitely still going on the weekends and all that kind of stuff. I get about 1 or 2 days during the week to hustle, and then definitely the weekend. But some of the weeks it's been like 1 day, right? I used to go like 3 or 4, so that's been cut down a little bit. The amount of work, let me get back to this channel. So what happened to the fitness channel? Fitness channel is still up, and I'm going to contribute a lot to it, a lot. But I need to get my mojo back. So I need to get my scheduling back and all this kind of stuff. And that gets kind of hard when something that you've already been doing, multiplies itself by 2, basically. So like I said, there's a certain amount of time in the day to get your dreams taken care of, right? And so this one dream right here, instead of taking this block of time, now it takes this block of time. And it's a wonderful dream. Like I love the dream. So I want to take care of it. But that means this other dream that was taking about, this much of time now comes only down to this. So still trying to balance that out and figure out like how it's all going to integrate and everything like that. But I know at some point, some part of that workout channel and some of the things that I'm going to be doing, some of it will be integrated into Green Room Life. Some of it, I just don't know how, but I know that some of it will. So yeah, anyway. Motivation ebook Smith. Hi, Bonafide. I live in a college town selling bikes too. On average, how many bikes do I sell in a week? On average, in a week, it's 1 now. Okay, so it's 1, sometimes 2, but like it's usually 1. Before, back in the day when I was like writing the Bikes to Bucks thing and all that kind of stuff, it was about 4. The highest I've ever sold in a week, like I think was like 7 or 9. So, I mean, there have been some days where I've sold 3, like back to back to back. Like literally I've stacked people 15 minutes after each other. Meet me here, meet me here, meet me here, 15 minutes. And I've sold 3 different, I mean, that's not uncommon, right? But it's a little bit more common to have one person, then an hour later have another person. So those days are great. I love those days, but it's not like every bike that you find is cherry and ready to go. 30% are kind of like that, right? The other 70% needs some little tweak. And that's the reason why Bikes to Bucks has that, like, why is my dog barking? Bikes to Bucks has that 70% kind of like, what do I do if I encounter a flat tire, bent spoke or derailleur adjustment, all this kind of stuff. That's all in Bikes to Bucks. So it was there because I realized that I could just tell you exactly what bike to buy. That's great. You buy it. But then if it needs fixing, then you're kind of SOL. And I was like, I can't leave my people hanging like that. So I made a pretty nice section in Bikes to Bucks about bicycle maintenance, like how to do this or that on a bike when you get it. So anyway, there you go. I want to do more bikes. There's so many times I'm like driving on the freeway where I'm like, I really just want to get all just straight back into the bike game. Like literally I could do a little bit less FBA, get completely back into the bike game and be a lot of fun. But then I realized how much time I was spending on bikes sometimes. And my proficiency level is very high on bikes and I can get things tuned up real quick. But there are some that just, you know, you miss something and it's like, damn, now I got to go find this part or like all this kind of stuff. And it kind of sucks. But that just comes with it. I mean, if you hustle enough things, it's no different than hustling a whole lot of electronics or VCRs. Eventually you come across a VCR that's super high dollar, but it needs like a certain part, right? And it's not, it doesn't have a remote, but if you bind it with a remote, it's worth like $500. So there's a lot of little things involved with bikes too. Same thing. It's a different hustle. It's a hustle where I haven't got a single return yet. Let me think. Have I got a return on a bike? Oh no, I did get it. It never physically got returned to me, but I basically let the guy keep the bike and I refunded half the money. But yeah, I've never got an actual true return back to my house. Never, never, never. So that's pretty good. I mean, how many times have you hustled stereo equipment or vintage anything and it came back? For me on stereo stuff, like, man, I had 2 returns last week, a printer and something else. And I was like, holy crap, that was a pretty big hit. But, you know, you can't look at business as just the hits and like that. You know, you have to focus on that other stuff, that the stuff that really makes you money. If I was to focus on those 2 hits and battle it out and like, oh my God, am I getting scammed? Like, you know how much time that I would have wasted? So I like literally like saw it. I was like, crap. And then I was like, oh, well, you know, like, what am I going to do? I'm going to get it sent back to me. I'm going to inspect it. It could be scammed, could not. I don't know. I may try to open a case, but I can't do anything till it comes back to my house. It's literally senseless for me to spend any more time in my head worrying about it after I saw that one email saying, you know, you have a customer return. It makes no sense to give any more time to infect my mind and my brain and all that kind of stuff. It makes no sense. Nothing can happen till you get it home. And maybe they return it and it goes back to your FBA inventory. The people there realize it's okay. Bam, it's put back into your inventory. You still can't control any of that either. So I think a lot of people get so worried about all this dumb stuff. And it's like, literally, if you can control it in the moment, that's great. But you can't control much stuff. And if you're trying to control these little $20, $40 things, I mean, drop some of that stuff. I mean, seriously, drop some of that stuff because focus on that top end. That's the most important. So many people worry about these little things, and the little things don't make you the money, right? It's the bigger picture that makes you the money, guys. Here we go. About 4 VCRs for $80. Sold them for $1,200 on Amazon. There you go. I like to hear that kind of story. Everyone's asking me about VCRs. No. Do I check VCRs on the spot? No. Usually when I pop on a VCR, it's like $5 or less, honestly. And then when I go home, I have 1 VCR tape down there and I have a blank VCR tape down there. And I test them out, right? Out of all the VCRs that, I'm trying to think, out of all the VCRs that I've sold on FBA, what has come back? I think I've had like 2 or 3 like really come back to my house, and they're pretty trashed up when they come back. So the other ones are just, they're put back in my inventory. So I don't know how they retest it out. It must have just been like the customer gets it and they go, wrong model, you know, send it back. And then they see wrong model and they realize there's nothing wrong with it. So I think I've got like 2 or 3 back ever. I've got a couple receivers back, 2 printers back. No, 1 printer back. 1 printer back so far. So we'll see. See what happens. Does Whitney hustle your items and then sell them herself? No. But does she hustle items that I find that she really likes? Yes. She'll just like take it away from me. She actually took away these shoes. Here, I'll show you something real quick. Found these at a Goodwill for her. These are Nike 5.0 TRs, I think. Okay, so the TR Fit 4s, but they're basically they're built on a 5.0 air sole. These are beautiful, man. Look at these shoes right here. And she wore them for just a little bit, and she's like, I don't like them. So I spent like $10 on these at a Goodwill, and these are probably $50 to $60 shoes. She gave them back to me. Still got the nubs on the bottom. Look at those nubs on nubs. Whew, that is beautiful. So she's like, will you sell these for me? I was like, wait a minute. I basically bought them, gave them to you. So I'll sell them, but I'm keeping the money on this one. You know? What else is going out soon? You'll see this on the video soon. Been so busy with Green Room, but like little things like this, bicycle swap meet, that's coming out on the video soon right there. Really nice chair. Look at that. I mean, that's one crazy looking saddle, right? Brand new. $10, resale 60. $58 check cut on FBA on this one. materializes. So anyway, nuclear Yeti. Do I eat egg rolls? No, not really. But if I did eat egg rolls, they would be considered lumpia, which is like Filipino egg rolls, and they're like the best thing in the whole entire world. And the last time I ever had lumpia was like half a year ago or something. I mean, there's a lady down like, well, not down the street, but she's about 8 miles away from my house. She has a Filipino store. You go in there, she should be shut down for like code violations, honestly. I ain't gonna lie. But I think that's kind of like how the old like Filipino dingy Vietnamese stores, you know, the best food comes from these little dingy places that has so much grease buildup and all this kind of stuff. It just, there's better food there. I just try not to look really behind the counter too much, but she makes the best lumpia like ever, like ever. And it's actually super reasonable, the prices of it. If she lived closer to me, I'd be like way fatter because I know I would go there all the time. But she lives 8 miles away and it's definitely some traffic involved to get to her. So I don't mess with it. But yeah, lumpia is real good. I don't know if anyone out there has ever had lumpia. It is good. It is good. What else you guys want to talk about? Here we go. Perfect question. Motivation ebook Smith. Now this is great. Forgive me, bodybuilding question. Hey, let's talk about it. How many grams of protein do you focus on per meal? I am getting a minimum of 30 and a maximum of 40. That's what I'm at right now. Yeah, that's definitely where I want to be on all my meals. Kevin Flory, Henry S. I love lumpia. Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there. Other questions. Egg roll questions. Interesting. Kevin Flory, this is a great question. Do I ever see the green room replacing the hustle? And you know, to answer that fairly, if it gets so big, like so big, we're talking like 3,000, 5,000 members, like huge, to where I would imagine at that point, Eric, Steve, and I would likely be in one office, something like that. I mean, it would be, we'll probably end up being in Austin. The virtual thing is cool where we get to talk to each other all the time, but after a while you realize if you form a company and you really want to make big steps, they all try to get a big office, right? That's just the way it is. So we'd probably end up getting office space somewhere. Austin's not a bad place. It's a very fit city. I'm pretty sure Eric wouldn't mind. Steve wouldn't mind either. And I have a feeling it'd probably be somewhere here. And yeah, I mean, that's just one of those natural things. I don't ever want to say like, oh yeah, absolutely, I'm gonna ditch the hustle. Like, you don't understand. Like, I love garage selling. Like, I love it so much. It's so much fun to go out on Saturdays and just hit it. Like, and just go out there and knock it out. I don't care how tired you are or whatever. I mean, go out there, you know, put 100, 200, 300, sometimes 600 bucks in your pocket and just see what happens. It's like the actual feeling of garage sales is no different for me than a feeling of Christmas morning when I was a kid. I get so excited about it. And most people are like, yeah, well, you're kind of expert level. Don't you just come back with like a ton of things like all the time? And that's not true. Like, I try to come back with a lot of things, but I dismiss a whole lot of things that make money too. You don't understand. I only do things that excite me. I only do things that get me going and that I'm like, okay, I know where to move that and it's worth my time. There are a lot of $20 items and $15 items that I don't mess with. A fair amount, actually. And I only mess with things that I actually want to rescue, want to, you know, bring back to market. And I don't think anything's going to ever come between that. I think that's something that Rakin, College Picker, and I, even with the utmost success of the green room, I think we're still going to do that every weekend. I think we are. I mean, ever since I figured out that garage sales were like a total honey hole, there were times when I was in corporate life before, you know, being a full-time, back in like 01, 02, like on my Saturdays and Sundays, I would ride my mountain bike all over the place and just ride. And I would ride with friends and we'd go on like 1 hour blast or 3 hour blast. And then I figured out about garage sales. And I can't tell you the last Saturday that came by where I actually just rode. Like, I can't remember it because I don't do it. So I ride on Sundays all the time. I'll ride on Fridays. I rode yesterday. But on Saturdays, that's my time. Like, that's just it. I'll ride after garage sale day. Yeah, you know, I'll go to the lake, do whatever. I'll lay out in Barton Springs. I'll do all the fun stuff after garage sales because garage sales are so lucrative, like especially during the multiple seasons in Austin that we have. And you watch the videos, and those videos are only half of the true garage sales I go to. And in those videos, you don't get to see even all of the items that I buy too. There's so many items that just never make it to the actual video. But anyway, It's just one of those things. I love it a lot. I really do. I have true passion for garage sales. I do. Midget Cinema. I live in Austin. Go Bonafide. Hey, let's go get a coffee together, man. Hit me up on Bonafide Hustler Facebook. I don't care if you're in green room or not green room. Let's just meet up, man. See where this goes. Finding something awesome is an adrenaline rush. You're right, Carrie. Absolutely true. You could be in the worst mood in the morning, completely underslept, and then you come to a garage show and you have the best score, and like probably for about 30 minutes or an hour, it's almost like your body's back to normal, right? And then I've had those times where I go to garage sales with 3 hours of sleep, and then when I come back home at 11, I'm just like on the couch, like, oh, I know I should take pictures and start processing things, but I can't physically function anymore. So, but that's how much I love them, to the point where, you know, there's uncomfortable. I come home and I crash out. Like, I know I'm not the only person that does that, but that's not all the time. But I have done it many times, many times. Wisconsin Thrift says, if I order a doppio, is that the nickname, or is that actually what it's called? It's called a doppio, D-O-P-P-I-O. It's Italian for 2 shots of espresso. So most people that are baristas or any coffee place should know what that is. And if they go like, well, whoa, what is that contraption? You just say, just give me 2 shots of espresso in a cup, no water. That's all you want. That's a doppio. Dan Mack says, hey, Bonafide, did you do this series because I asked you to? No. Dan Mack, I do series like this and different kind of videos and vlogs because I want to, because it interests me, right? Because I want to see what other kind of people would come to my channel. I also want to improve on the people that are here in my channel and help them out. So if I can help them out on a hustling basis, there's still other pieces of my life that I'm super good at that, like, I can still help people with, right? Internal psychology, fitness, and that's what I'm here for. So one day I know there'll be some grand payoff, and I'll be happy when that day comes. I'm happy now, but I think ultimately I might see the, what do they call it? The fruits of the labor. What, you know what I'm talking about? Someone help me out there. But I'll ultimately see where all this effort adds up at some point. All this free stuff I'm giving out will add up at one point. And I'm not saying that that's what I'm waiting for. It's just, I don't know any different how to conduct my life. Like, I think it's, I like helping people out. And I feel that because I've embraced that sort of mentality, it has led me to a good life, right? I'm not living in a mansion in the Mediterranean. I'm not on a yacht, but I am not looking at my setup and complaining, okay? I like my setup. I love my wife, love my 3 dogs. I love everything that I've been able to do to this point. Do I have any regrets? Not very many. So I'd say I'm living pretty good. Like, that's just it. Yeah. I mean, the only regret, no, I really don't have many regrets. I just don't. I'm just like, you know what? You shouldn't live in a world of regrets, because this world is so amazing that you live in right now. This is like the world. This is the land of opportunity right here. Like, this is it. Like, digital age is here. You can create anything you want from your cell phone or your laptop. Anything you want. You just have to do it. So, what does Jason Clark in the green room say? There's nothing to it than to just do it. Anyway, Motivation eBooks Smith, Bonafide. We're gonna answer this question. Bonafide, have you ever had a run-in or a dispute with a competitor at a garage sale? Yeah, never truly a dispute, but the only thing that comes to my mind was a cold Saturday. I go out to a neighborhood that's close to my house because they're having neighborhood-wide garage sales. Don't know why it was so cold that morning, but I remember it was. I think it might have made it to a ride-along, but I didn't emphasize how uncomfortable it really was at that moment. But anyways, go up to a garage is open. I see a really big RC New Bright Hummer in the back, which is pretty big. It's like not even an 8 scale. It's a pretty big one, 5th scale. It's big. I mean, there's 8 scale, 10 scale RC cars, and then there's like 5th scale, which is like these big monster looking things. So I was looking at that like, oh, I know that's an easy $100 bill right there. Like, I just look at it, I'm like, I know that thing. I've already pre-researched it. I already knew about it before. And it's called like a lights and sounds Hummer. So like the remote control has like a horn on it and like these lights that you press lights and the lights go on. It's a complete piece of crap though. But regardless, it has money associated to it. So I'm looking at it and I'm like testing it out. The guy's asking like 25. I'm like, damn, that's kind of high, because I know I can already picture the box is going to be a big, and like I know my shipping cost is going to be this. If I do it correctly right now, I'll be making 40 bucks. So the question is, if I talk this dude down, all I'm doing is adding to my 40 bucks, right? That's how I kind of think. So I try to get it. I think I did buy. I bought it. So I'm like sitting there, like, what's the best you would, what's the lowest you would take? Is like, well, the garage sale just opened, and it's 25 bucks. I'm like, okay. And I'm sitting there going like this, just like trying to get that uncomfortable silence, because usually in the uncomfortable silence, I'm just like looking at the vehicle and he's like right there looking at me, looking at the vehicle. Usually in the uncomfortable silence, the person will say, well, what are you willing to pay? Or I could do 20 or something, you know what I'm saying? And he doesn't say anything. So it got like really uncomfortable. And so this guy comes up behind me, like literally like right here, and is like breathing in my ear, like, like looking at this Hummer. And I see this, I'm like, oh crap. Like, and he starts messing with it too. He picks it up. He's like, wow, this is pretty nice. And I look at the guy and I go, I'll take it. So I take it for 25, and the guy looks at me that's next to me, that's holding the Hummer. He now puts it down. He looks at me and goes, that's messed up, man. That's messed up, dude. Like that. And I was like, I just bought it, man. And he's like, that's messed up, dude. That's messed up. I'm like, I was holding the controller. He was holding the car. I was like, we were both in that scenario. Like he could have been like, I'll buy it. And then I would have just been like, all right, cool. I didn't make my decision in time, So he looks at me and he's like, that's messed up. And like, but he was a smaller guy. I'm a pretty big dude in real life. Like it wasn't uncomfortable to me, but I was like, God, it is a little uncomfortable, because I knew that the second that I was kneeling on the ground kind of thing, and the second I stood up, but it's like, I really like almost towered over this dude, and it's like my Hummer, I felt kind of bad for it, but that's just hustling, right? There's nothing you can do about that. I mean, we both had a piece of the hustle like in our hands, and I was the only one that said like, I'll do it, so that's mine, right? But he looked at me like, that's my, he had the funniest look on his face. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that story. Do you think, Vincent Gary Photography, do you think reselling is now oversaturated, or is it still fresh and holds lots of opportunities for new resellers? It's a great question. I think I saw you commenting on my video yesterday, by the way, Vincent Gary. But reselling, the people that think that it's saturated or might be saturated or any of that kind of stuff, you got to understand there are two types of mentalities out there. One is the mentality of scarcity. They call it scarcity mindset. Scarcity mindset is literally one of the worst things you could ever possess in your entire life. Have a scarcity mindset will get you nowhere in life. So you absolutely need to just abandon thoughts such as, do you think it's going to, or is it oversaturated? Is it gonna, what's gonna happen? Look, I'm no prophet, okay? But I can tell you that I started 12 years ago, and each and every year I've done better every single time. What has happened in those 12 years? I've gotten more educated too, right? Constantly trying out new things, constantly making YouTube videos, building a green room. Like I'm constantly like, I keep going with the reselling thing. I'm just like, how much further can I go? I'm getting ungated in this. I registered for Walmart.com the other day, or WalmartMerchant.com, whatever that thing is. As soon as something comes out and it could be a potential opportunity, even if I don't work on it like immediately, like I want to get in on it that way, because I know how the world works. The world works, and like a flood of people go into something and they screw it all up, and then they have to start putting barriers in, right? So do I think reselling is going to be a prominent thing later? Always, right? But it's going to be contingent upon how much you learn and how soon you realize being around like-minded people is going to be the only thing that's going to save your butt in the end. You have to be around people that are constantly thinking on your same terms. They're like, all right, how do we get one step ahead of this? Okay, cool. Thanks for telling me that, buddy. Let's meet up